Ladies and gentlemen, what a game that was last night. What a game. I mean, we saw everything. Bama, first of all, congratulations to the Alabama Crimson Tide. You played a hell of a game. You came out clicking on all cylinders, took a 28 to nothing lead. At one time, you were up 33 to 7. Uh, listen, the AP is crowned Alabama the number one ranked team in the nation. Hey, my hat's off to you. Kudos. All right, kudos. You're the number one ranked team in the nation. Salute to you. Also, salute to my Georgia Bulldogs. Salute to my Georgia Bulldogs. Even though you were getting your ass handed to you in that first half, even though you was getting dragged by majority, getting dragged in the majority of that third quarter, towards the end of that third quarter, you flicked on that light switch and you turned the whole thing around. Took the lead, even though it was for only 13 seconds, but you took the lead. A lot of teams would have just laid down and threw the towel in, but my Georgia Bulldogs are cut from a whole different cloth. So shout out to you. Even in defeat, the Georgia Bulldogs and a lot of you Georgia haters, you have to admit, you have to put some respect on that comeback. To be down 33 to 7 on the road in Bryant Denny at night after playing a terrible first half. Carson Beck showed some heart. He should hold his head up high, even though he had a terrible first half. And we're going to talk about that today. We are absolutely going to talk about that. But what I also want to talk about is, you Bama fans, you might want to pump your brakes. You may want to pump your brakes. Congratulations on the win. Don't get me wrong. I will not take that away from you. Congratulations on being ranked number one. I'm not going to take that away from you also. But I'm a realist, and I've come to tell you that there are some reasons why you Bama fans should not be too happy about that victory last night. I'm Armondo Black, and this is the Dog Call. Welcome to the Dog Call. I'm your host, Armondo Black. Salute everybody. Make sure that you come on in and hit that like button. I appreciate everyone coming out here joining me this evening. Salute to you. Salute to the chat. Salute to the chat. If I do not shout you out personally, please do not take it personal. Just know that I love and appreciate each and every one of you for coming through and joining us here on the Dog Call. Salute to you. Salute. Let me get into my talking points here. First of all, that game last night was one of That was a hell of a football game last night. That game had me on the edge of my seat from start to finish. It was frustrating in the first half. I mean, I had jumped the gun and gave up. I'm a lifelong Georgia fan. Don't get me wrong, but I've never really seen my team get dragged like that in the first half. And I've been around through the storms of the Ray Golf years, the latter part of the late great Coach Dooley years. We took some hits in that game. We took some beat downs, and toward the end of his days as the head coach of Georgia, Ray Goff. We took some beat downs during his years. We took some beat downs during Jim Donovan's years. I remember Mark Rick. It was on a Saturday night up in Columbia back in 2012, where Jadavion Clowney and Ace Sanders and Connor Shaw, they put the beat down on my Georgia Bulldogs. I remember the Auburn game of 2017. That was a beat down that day. The infamous we beat the dog crap out of them game. A quote by Gus. And I also remember the 2021 SEC championship game. That was a straight up beat down where everyone had written us off. Everyone had written us off, said we were dead. We were gonna lose in the first round of Michigan. And then when we beat Michigan and we were gonna play Bama again in the championship game, nobody gave us a chance. Nobody gave us a chance in hell of winning that game. So I say that to say this. We've seen this movie before. Georgia fans, calm down. For everyone that's in the uproar, including myself last night, I had to reflect and I had to, you know, pray on it and think about it. And I had to calm down and take a step back. Now, there's some good news and some bad news from the outcome of last night. Now, I can start off with the bad news. The bad news is we lost to a team that I know myself, and probably every UGA fan, next to Florida, the team we hate losing to the most is Bama. I would say Florida number one, Bama number two, Georgia Tech number three. Those are the three teams that we hate. We absolutely despise losing to. That's the bad news. We lost to one of our hated rivals last night. But the good news is this situation is totally different than last year in Atlanta. Last year, when we lost to Bama, that ended our playoff chances. That ended our playoff chances. So last night was just another regular season game. Last night was no different than, hey, losing the Auburn game in 2017. I'm not saying it didn't mean anything, but it was a regular season game. And with the 12 team playoff format, the new 12 team playoff format, the way Georgia's schedule lines up, 2 losses and the Dogs are still in the playoffs. It may be a lower seed, may have to travel or maybe host in the first round, may definitely won't get a bye, but you'll be in the playoffs. So that is the good news. All right. Now, I just want to make a statement here. And I've been listening to a lot of Bama podcasters, some of you podcasters. You got your head in the clouds and you're basking in your glory and you're talking a whole lot of crap. You're talking a whole lot of crap. One in particular, Kangaroo Black. You've got to be the most delusional Tide fan that you've got Harvey Updike beat. I'm serious. The guy that pulls in the trees down in Toomer's Corner. You got that fool beat. You got him beat. You are very, very delusional. You sit over there and talk like, okay, now you're crowning Kalen DeBoer the greatest head coach in college football today, which that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. He coached a damn good game in the first half. I give you that. But in the second half, that ass got out coached. He got flat out coached. Kirby took his ass to school. Now you like numbers, Kangaroo? Let me give you some numbers here. 34-5. Because you love you want because you Bama fans are gonna sit there and say 1-6, 1-6. And for those of you that don't know what 1-6 means, that's Kirby's record against Bama. Nothing to be ashamed of, because there are some coaches that are 0-7 and 0-8 against Kirby. There's some coaches that has never beaten Kirby. So nothing to be ashamed of. Kirby will hit his 100 mark this season as far as victories as a head coach. And the man is still young. Hell, he just got here in 2016. It ain't even been 10 years. And this man is almost at 100 victories. Okay. Takes a lot of coaches longer than that to get to 100 victories. But that's neither here or there. You want to talk about 1-6? Let's talk about 34-5. Because you see, even you have to admit, Mr. Kangaroo Black, that your team got some issues in that secondary. Your team got exposed in that second half. You had a 33-7 lead. Bama had a 33-7 lead. 33-7. And you choked that lead away. Let Georgia back in the game. We took the lead. And this would have been the most embarrassing, I mean the most embarrassing loss in Alabama football program history. This would have been more embarrassing than the kick six. This would have been more embarrassing than the comeback. This would have been the most embarrassing loss in that school's history. And I'm going back 100 years plus. To give up a lead like that, 33-7. You Bama fans, like I said, congratulations. You're number one. Congratulations on that victory. But sometimes you got to look at how you won. Just like I always say, how you lose reflects on what type of team you are. How you win also reflects on what type of team you are. And y'all won that game by the skin of your teeth. You won that game all thanks to a fluke, and I do mean a fluke, lucky ass catch by Ryan Williams, which he's great. He's an elite receiver. He is an elite receiver. He has a promising NFL career. As long as he stay healthy, he is definitely headed to the NFL. That kid is special. But you know and I know that catch was a fluke. Now, hey, I'm not here to whine and complain about it. It is what it is. Bama won the game. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be good. Now, y'all were good for one half. But in that second half, Kirby outcoached Kalen DeBoer. It was like, and I don't want to hear no BS about Kalen DeBoer took his foot off the gas. That's a bunch of bull crap. That is a bunch of bullshit. You know it and I know it. Because the only reason why we were able to come back and take the lead was because Kalen DeBoer and the offense kept mismanaging the clock. Let me explain it to you. Instead of just running the ball, you got a 33-7 lead, all right? They were almost getting ready. They were remember they were on the 25-yard line, getting ready to go in for another score. And then they turned the ball over. The score would have been 40-7. So that notion about Kalen DeBoer took his foot off the gas, that's bullshit. Every time Bama had the ball in the second half, they were calling pass plays. Sometimes they were running no huddle. Go back and watch the replay. Go back and watch it. They were running no huddle. They were going fast. The man was trying to put more points on the board, Mr. Kangaroo Black. The problem was that Kirby went in at halftime, like the great coach that he is, and made some halftime adjustments, and he shut that shit down. He shut it down. He shut it down. Look at the second half stats. Look at the second half stats. 3 and outs, 3 and outs, 3 and outs. You were not able to move the ball on that defense because Kirby had figured it out. He made some halftime adjustments. That was on defense. Now on offense. And here's what you really need to think about. Here's moving forward, because you got some teams on your schedule that has some lethal weapons on offense. You have some teams on your schedule that have receivers on the level as that Ryan Williams kid. One in particular, in my opinion, one of the best receivers in the nation, Luther Burden. You got to see Luther Burden. And those big, tall trees that the Missouri Tigers are going to come with when they come to Tuscaloosa. You got to see Tennessee. You got to go. You got to go to Neyland. You got to go to Neyland on the 19th, the same day that we're going to be in Austin. You got to go to Neyland. And in my opinion, I think that's where you're going to take your first L. I think that's where that first L is going to come for Bama, in Neyland. See, a lot of Georgia fans had you penciled in to win that game last night. A lot of Georgia podcasts had you penciled in to win that game last night. But Tennessee is a matchup nightmare. Now, the AP has you crowned as the number 1 team. Hey, congratulations. Now, do I believe you're the number 1 team in the nation? No, I don't. I'm sticking by my eye test, rule. And my eye test tells me that right now, the best team in the nation still, without a doubt, pound for pound, roster for roster, is the Ohio State Buckeyes. I really do believe in it. And if I was a bad man, I would put my money on it. If Bama and Ohio State lined up and played tonight, my money would be on Ohio State, because they do things the way their style of football. That defensive coordinator would not be able to stop it. You see, one of the main reasons why you were able to get a lead on us was because you were able to shut down our running game. Now, we have some good running backs. Don't get me wrong. We have some great running backs. But Ohio State has elite running backs. 2 first rounders, in my opinion. Trayvon Henderson and Jurgens. Those are 2 slam dunk, in my opinion, first round running backs. NFL running backs. They have a fleet of NFL wide receivers. Ibuka and Jeremiah Smith. A fleet of them. That secondary is elite. We have a great secondary, but Ohio State has an elite secondary. But so I think for right now, the right thing to do would be to put y'all at number one because y'all have the best win of the season. But in my opinion, from my eye test, if Bama and Ohio State lined up and played tonight, my money would be on Ohio State without a doubt, especially after what I saw last night. You played a flawless first half, but we all know football is 60 minutes. And that bullshit that you did last night against my Georgia Bulldogs is not going to work against Tennessee, Missouri, or Ohio State because those three are some high octane offenses. They're not. Put it like this: they have a much thicker playbook than we do. No shot at Mike Bobo. No diss at Mike Bobo. And speaking of Mike Bobo, I think Mike Bobo. Shout out to Mike Bobo. He called an excellent game last night. An excellent game, especially in the second half. He was calling plays in the first half. He was calling some aggressive plays in the first half. They just were not being executed. Receivers were dropping the ball. Carson Beck was terrible in the first half. Receivers were half-ass blocking down the field. Oscar Delp did not have a good game last night. Now that O-line, they played their ass off last night. They played their ass off. They stood up. They stood tall, especially in that second half. Now I know there's no such thing as moral victories, and moral victories don't help the scoreboard. And at the end of the day, the score still remains Bama with a W, Georgia with an L. But all you Tide fans, if you're honest with yourself, you gotta wonder. Even though Carson Beck played the worst game of his life, 4 turnovers and a safety. 4 turnovers and a safety. You had a 33-7 lead on my Georgia Bulldogs. But yet, it still took, once again, a lucky fluke play to beat my Georgia Bulldogs. You could not put them away easy. You could not put them away. It took divine intervention once again. And as far as that interception that freshman made, it's like somebody playing catch with him in the yard. That's exactly what it was. Because the ball was thrown damn near right to him. Carson Beck made a terrible throw on that last play. He made a terrible throw. He played solid in that fourth quarter up until he made that throw. He would have had the perfect fourth quarter if he wouldn't, but that was a terrible throw. He underthrew Kobe Young, and that's the only way that kid was able to get that interception. But my hat's off to him. Because instead of playing press man, he played off on him. And that's how he was able to detect the ball and convert the pick in the end zone. So I'm not going to take anything away from him, but it is what it is. That was more self-inflicted than him making a play, a great play. So, not trying to take anything away from your victory. Congratulations once again. But I'm just being honest with you. That secondary got some serious issues. That secondary BAMA secondary had some serious issues. We don't have, in my opinion, we don't have any elite receivers on our roster. We don't have a George Pickens. We don't have a Brock Bowers. We don't have a Lad McConkey. We don't have an A.D. Mitchell. We have some great receivers that I think they will be on somebody's NFL roster. They're not first rounders, but they'll be on somebody's NFL roster. They'll be playing on Sundays. But the moral of the story is they deep fried, and cooked your secondary. Remember that number, 34-5. Those points came by way in the air. Those points were mainly explosive plays. Remember what the buzz has been like, what everybody's been saying for 2 weeks? Georgia has no explosive plays. Georgia can't make any explosive plays. Well, we made explosive plays on your defense and on your secondary that entire second half. 34-5 in the second half. So everybody want to crown Jalen Miro as this great QB. I've heard some fools calling him comparing him to Lamar Jackson, which that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I mean, the kid is good, but he's nowhere near on the level of Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. Nowhere near. Once again, great win. But I wouldn't celebrate too and be too happy about that victory. Because that second half, you got your asses handed to you. 34-5 before that lucky fluke play by Ryan Williams. So, hey, are you the best team in the nation? The AP says you are today, September the 29th. They say you're the best team. But in my opinion, I don't think you'll be at that spot too long. Enjoy it for maybe a couple of weeks. I think you'll come out of that number one spot on the 19th, from what I've seen. Because if you can hold our receivers, if you can lock down our receivers, and if you let Carson Beck hang 400 yards passing on your secondary, on that Tide, if Carson Beck can hang 400 pass, he had a career high of passing yards. Career high. And he had a terrible, I do mean a terrible game. The worst game of his college football career. But yet, he put up the most yards and produced the most explosive plays on that Tide defense. Carson Beck did. A quarterback, up until last night, was never known for making explosive plays down the field. So if Carson Beck can do that, to that Tide defense, what the hell do you think that Nico is going to do on the 19th? What the hell do you think Brady Cook and Luther Burden is going to do? Mm-hmm. And here's the kicker. What makes you think that you won't see my Georgia Bulldogs again before this year is over with? Whether it's in Atlanta or in a first round playoff game, what makes you think that it will not be a round two? Because it's like this. You can yell Roll Tide all you want to. Yeah. It sounds good. It sounds good. But in real life, in that fourth quarter, my dogs had you on the ropes. You Bama fans were about to defecate all over yourselves. Y'all were about to defecate all over yourselves. Your faces were turning red. Your mouth dropped. Your heart was pounding. Because you was witnessing something that you never thought you would ever witness. A tied team give up a lead like that. That lead was, you thought the comeback was something? That right there, that would have been very embarrassing. So don't scream Roll Tide too loud. Because that playbook of Kalen DeBoer's, that thing got figured out in the second half. Kirby shut that down. He shut it down completely. 3 and out here, 3 and out there, 3 and out here, 3 and out there. And Kangaroo Black, you know damn well that man wasn't taking his foot off the gas. No, Kirby took his foot. Kirby put up a roadblock for that ass. Because in that second half, Kirby figured that that little backyard crap that y'all ran in the first half, it got figured out in the second half. And I promise you, we meet again, that shit ain't working the next time around. That's a promise. I want to thank all of you for coming out to the Dawg Call. This has been the Dawg Call. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Salute and congratulations to my Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons, for that great come from behind victory over the New Orleans Saints. Salute, shout out to you all. Good luck to my Atlanta Braves. You got a 1-game playoff against the Mets tomorrow for that last spot in the wild card. Hey, it's a great time to be a part of the state of Georgia sports, professional sports, and it's a great to be a Georgia Bulldog. Win, lose, or tie, it don't matter. It's dogs for life over here. It's UGA for life, no matter what. Yeah, that first half we took an ass kicking. But in that second half, we kicked ass. We lost the game, but we didn't lose the war. That's for damn sure. Everyone hit that like button on your way out. I'm Armondo Black. Take care of yourselves and each other. And one last thing. Go dogs! Sick 'em! Woo, 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 woo!